In The Young and the Restless, danger doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it waits. It waits in neon lights, in crowded rooms, in whispered deals behind closed doors. And this time, that danger is waiting in Las Vegas. What started as a routine business trip quickly spirals into something far more dangerous. Nick Newman arrives in Vegas with a clear mission: finalize a deal, keep things clean, and return to Genoa City without drama. But nothing involving the Newman family ever stays simple. Because where Nick goes, trouble isn't far behind. And this time, that trouble has a name: Adam Newman. Adam's sudden appearance in Vegas isn't a coincidence. It never is. The tension between the two brothers has been building for weeks. Resentment, betrayal, old wounds that never truly healed. And now, in a city built on risk and deception, those emotions are about to explode. Their first encounter is icy. No shouting, no chaos, just sharp words and sharper looks. But beneath the surface, something far more dangerous is brewing, because both Nick and Adam are hiding something, and neither is willing to back down. Nick's business meeting takes place in one of Vegas's most exclusive private suites. Luxury, privacy, and just enough secrecy to make things dangerous. Everything is set. The investors are ready. The deal is moments away from being finalized. And then Adam walks in, uninvited, unapologetic, and completely ready to destroy everything. Adam doesn't just interrupt the meeting, he hijacks it. He reveals information Nick didn't expect. Secrets about the deal, about the investors, about risks that were carefully hidden. The room shifts instantly. Doubt creeps in. Trust begins to crumble. And Nick loses control. What starts as a verbal confrontation quickly escalates. Accusations fly, tempers flare. Years of bitterness erupt in one explosive moment. And then a shove. A fall, a crash that echoes louder than anything else in the room. Adam hits the ground hard, too hard. Silence. Then panic. For a split second, everything stops. The room goes quiet. Too quiet. Adam isn't moving. Nick stands frozen, his anger instantly replaced with something far worse. Fear, because this wasn't supposed to happen. Panic spreads through the room as people rush to Adam's side. He's breathing, but barely. Blood, stillness, uncertainty. Nick's hands shake as he kneels beside his brother, calling his name, trying to get a response. But Adam doesn't answer. And suddenly the situation isn't just a fight anymore. It's a crisis. For the first time in a long time, Nick is forced to confront something he's been avoiding: the consequences of his anger. This wasn't just another argument. This wasn't just another Newman family clash. This was different, because this time, someone got hurt. Badly. A race against time emergency services are called. The minutes feel like hours. Every second stretches painfully as Adam lies motionless, caught somewhere between consciousness and darkness. Nick refuses to leave his side. No matter what's happened between them, Adam is still his brother. Back in Genoa City, the news spreads like wildfire. Victor Newman is the first to hear, and his reaction is immediate. Rage, controlled, cold, dangerous rage. Because no matter how complicated his relationship with his sons may be, they are still his legacy, and someone will answer for this. Victor doesn't wait. He makes calls, pulls strings, activates connections that most people don't even know exist. Because when it comes to family, Victor Newman doesn't play by the rules. Just when it seems like the situation couldn't get worse, it does. Because questions begin to surface. Was it really an accident? Or was there something more? Something planned? Something intentional? Because the fall, the impact, the timing, it all feels just a little too perfect. As investigators begin to piece together what happened, a new possibility emerges. Nick and Adam weren't the only players in that room. There were others, watching, waiting, and possibly manipulating everything from the shadows. Despite his panic and guilt, Nick quickly finds himself in a dangerous position. Because from the outside, it doesn't look like an accident. It looks like assault. And in a city like Vegas, where power and money influence everything, the truth isn't always what matters most. Perception is. At the hospital, Adam's condition remains critical. Doctors work tirelessly, but the damage is severe. Head trauma, internal injuries, uncertainty, and as hours pass, hope begins to fade. Nick is pushed to his limit, haunted by what happened, consumed by guilt, and terrified of what comes next. Because if Adam doesn't survive, there's no coming back from that. When Victor finally arrives in Vegas, everything changes. The atmosphere shifts, the tension deepens, and the stakes become even higher. Because Victor doesn't just want answers, he wants justice. That's the question no one can answer. Will Victor stand by Nick or turn against him to protect Adam? Because in the Newman family, loyalty is never simple. The truth begins to surface. As the investigation deepens, new evidence comes to light. Security footage, witness statements, inconsistencies, and slowly, a different version of events begins to take shape. One that suggests this wasn't just a fight between brothers, it was something far more dangerous. What if Nick didn't lose control? What if he was pushed, manipulated, provoked, set up? Because in a city like Vegas, nothing is ever what it seems. As the episode ends, one question hangs in the air. Will Adam survive? And if he does, what will he remember? Because the truth about that night could destroy everything. Y&R shock. Vegas turns deadly. Part 2. Adam fights for his life as the truth takes a dark turn. The machines beep steadily, cold, rhythmic, unforgiving. Inside a guarded hospital room in Las Vegas, Adam Newman lies motionless, caught between life and something far more uncertain. And outside that room, everything is falling apart. For Nick Newman, the reality of what happened refuses to settle. One moment of anger, one push, 1 second that changed everything. But the more Nick replays it in his mind, the less it makes sense. Because Adam didn't just fall, something about it felt off, wrong, like the moment had been engineered. When Victor Newman steps into the hospital, the air itself seems to tighten. He doesn't speak at first. He doesn't need to. His presence alone sends a clear message. Someone will pay. Victor stands over Adam, his expression unreadable, but his eyes burning with a quiet, controlled rage that only those closest to him truly understand. Then he turns and sees Nick. And in that moment, everything changes. Nick tries to explain, tries to make sense of the chaos. But Victor cuts him off with a single chilling line. Tell me why my son is fighting for his life. Not your brother, not Adam, my son. And suddenly, Nick realizes something terrifying. This isn't just about what happened, it's about where Victor's loyalty lies. While emotions explode inside the hospital, something far more calculated is happening behind the scenes. Victor has already set his own investigation in motion. No police, no delays, just results. Because Victor doesn't trust the system. He trusts power. Hours later, Victor's team retrieves security footage from the private suite where everything went wrong. Nick watches it, Victor watches it, and what they see changes everything. The argument, the tension, the moment of impact. But there's something else, something subtle, something no one noticed before. Right before Adam falls, someone moves in the background, a figure barely visible, positioned just behind Adam. Close enough to interfere, close enough to push. The footage is unclear, blurry, but one thing is certain. Nick may not have been the one who caused the fall. Relief hits Nick, but it's quickly replaced by something far worse. Fear, because if he didn't do it, then someone else did. And that means this wasn't just a fight. It was an attack. The question spreads quickly, and the answers are anything but simple. Adam has enemies, powerful ones, people with motives, people with reasons to see him fall, literally and figuratively. But this wasn't just revenge. This was calculated, precise, and terrifyingly effective. Back inside the hospital room, doctors rush in as Adam's condition suddenly worsens. Alarms blare, voices rise, and for a moment, it feels like everything might end right there. Victor watches, his expression finally cracking, because for all his power, this is something he can't control. In the middle of the chaos, something unexpected happens. Adam's fingers twitch, his eyes flutter, and for a brief, fragile moment, he almost wakes. Nick leans closer, desperate. Adam, can you hear me? What happened? But before Adam can respond, the moment is gone. Later, as the room quiets again, a nurse reports something strange. While unconscious, Adam said a word, just one, a name. And when Victor hears it, his expression darkens instantly, because that name changes everything. The name Adam whispered points to someone no one expected, someone who was supposed to be out of the picture, gone, finished. But in Genoa City and beyond, no one ever stays gone for long. And if this person is involved, then this wasn't just an isolated incident, it's part of something bigger. As the truth begins to unravel, Nick finds himself in a new kind of danger. because whoever orchestrated the attack knows he was there, knows he was involved, and might see him as a loose end. Victor doesn't hesitate. The moment he connects the dots, he makes a decision. This ends now. No more waiting, no more guessing. Whoever is behind this will be found. And when they are, there will be consequences. Victor and Nick reluctantly begin working together. Using the information from the footage, Adam's whispered clue, and their own instincts, they set a trap, a way to draw out the person responsible. But in doing so, they may be walking straight into another one. Just when it seems like they're getting closer to the truth, everything falls apart again because someone they trust, someone close, makes a move that changes the entire game. Information is leaked, the plan is exposed, and suddenly the hunter becomes the hunted. In the final moments, Adam's condition stabilizes. His eyes slowly open, his breathing steadies, and for the first time since the fall, he's conscious. Nick and Victor rush to his side. Hope flickers. Adam, who did this to you? Adam looks at them, confused, distant, and then he says something no one expected. I don't remember, because as the camera lingers, there's something in Adam's eyes, something calculating, something hidden, and suddenly a new question emerges. Does Adam really not remember? Or is he choosing not to say?